This chapters 5 through 8. This is the real meat of this book. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where she makes the move into, okay. We've primered all this stuff. We're getting ready. Now we're gonna start doing the work. And it's like written with so much better tone than, like, I've read a lot of like self-help type stuff and self-improvement and recovering from CPTSD books and stuff like that, where they kind of come off with a tone where it's like, nope, your perception is the problem. You're the problem. You're your own worst enemy. You're the only one stopping you. There's that tone where you're like, well, fuck you. I don't even want to finish reading this now. That, that's a real, I think, thing that gets overlooked in a lot of these kind of like, well, here's a book to help you kind of like work on things and fix yourself. And it's like, it just comes off with that like snarky tone of like, it's all on you. You have to fix you. You're the one holding you back. Here's how to change your perception so that you're not, it's like, she really takes the time to break down and logically show you, okay, here's the things that are your fault, or not necessarily your fault, but here's the parts of this that you are responsible for. Here are the things that, you have to do in order to, navigate yourself through this journey. Here's the things that you're not responsible for. Stop taking responsibility for things that are not your responsibility. Stop. Set. Oh, should have silenced my phone. Got some Twitter. And that's this. That's one of the greatest things. And throughout all four of these chapters, she's breaks all these things down and illustrates it for you, and then gives, very practical and very practical exercises and journaling assignments, basically, with, like very clear and easy to follow directions. And in my notes, I specified it's easy to follow the directions, but it may not be an easy, depending on your situation, it may not be an easy experience to go through that and write these things down. Maybe it will be. Who knows? I don't know. But, there were parts of it for me that was like, that's that's kind of a dark part of who I am. But you got to do it. You got to explore it. You got to go through it, and it's worth it. It is very, very much worth it to take the time. So, chapter 5 is about self-worth and self-acceptance. And once again, it's 12 pages, nice, compact, direct, guidance through learning to accept yourself and see your own self-worth. It's phenomenal. Now 6, 7, and 8. Oh boy, are these chapters good. These chapters are so good. Negative emotions, like dealing with negative emotions, like, we are taught in our society to just like reject negative emotions, and especially as men, we're taught to just like, unless it's anger, you suppress it. You do not express it, you suppress it, unless it's anger. As men, we're allowed to be angry, but sad, hurt, lonely, any of these things, vulnerable, if we express those things, then you're not a man. So we as a society don't teach people how to actually process and deal with and utilize negative emotions to navigate our way through our lives. And it just is an amazing, amazing chapter of this book. And struggling with chapter 7, struggling with emotions. You know, she takes it that next step and says, okay, here we are trying to learn how to, recognize, accept, and then direct these emotions in a productive manner. You know, how, what are you doing with what you're feeling? You know, are you actually using that feeling and sitting down with it and accepting it, or are you just, you know, shutting down, just to try and kind of make this as streamlined as possible. But, it's 18 pages. So once again, not a very, when you look at the separate chapters, you read one chapter a day, you're talking about 15-20 minutes, depending on how quickly you read. I'm a fast reader, so it's really not much. I finished 3/4 of the book between yesterday and this morning, so it it's not really that big of a read. And then chapter 8 is so important. Building resilience. This, she walks you through, what is resilience? Why do we need resilience? What, and just so, just next level, like, importance, and ways to build resilience. And, there was a journal assignment in that chapter about, assessing where you are, being psychologically resilient, and then, okay, wherever you are, here's some exercises that you can help to improve and build on wherever you are. So, here's your starting point. Well, here's what you can do to go further and take it further. And it's amazing. So, chapters 9 and 10, chapter 9 is about talking to a spouse or a partner. And then chapter 10 is about, my spouse or partner that, like, if you're already in a relationship, or, like, you've been dating someone and you drop this on them and they're just like, nope, nope, can't, I just, so, talking to chapter 9 is talking to a spouse or a partner, and then chapter 10 is my spouse or partner doesn't accept me. I've never been in those specific situations because I have gotten into relationships with, people that take something like this and see how they can use it to their advantage, so that, they're just absolutely accepting, like, I I'm going to support you 100% because this is a covert contract, but you don't know that, so I've never really like, no, I take that back. There was two relationships I've been in where it was outright rejected, and one time it completely ended the relationship. Like, once she found that out, she was like, "Nope, I'm done. Peace." But it wasn't a serious relationship, and we were just kind of screwing around. The other one was, like, okay, like, this is part of who you are, but I don't want anything to do with it, and so I really, you know, um, that, like, that part of it, I haven't had to like deal with too much, and not on the level like some of the people that she talks, some of the like stories that she relates in here, where people were like married for years, and then, you know, they dropped this on their spouse, and they had to try and figure out a way to go forward. And that's, you know, I've been upfront, and so, but it's good, solid advice, I feel, and because she has dealt with the relationship aspect in her therapy, and stuff like that. So, and she has been there with people through that process for years, and I know that she has, because of sitting through her classes, you know, and a lot of the things that she talks about in here about like talking to people and broaching the subject and things like that, I've come to on, you know, on my own through like trial and error, you know, because I'm I'm mostly like out as an ABDL with my like close friends and family. You know, most of my friends and family know this about me, and so I've had this conversation many, many, many times. And I can tell you that the advice that's in there, especially about controlling your own fear, like, you have to get to a point where you almost don't care what their response is going to be. Not to say that you don't at all, but like, you know, you have to be at a point where it's like, you know what, if you react negatively to this, if this shuts you down and makes you think I'm an awful person, and you're not going to hear me at all, and that's just the end of things for you, I'm not the problem, you are. That's, you know, and that's a tough reality of who we are, and being a little, or being an ABDL, regardless of where you fall in the very wide and nebulous spectrum that goes every four-dimensional direction possible in space-time. Because that's really how it is. You know, there's a, you know, like the many, many, many different directions that we all go, and the extremes and spectrum that fall between all the different extremes that are within our community is just so nebulous that it's impossible to like really categorize us, like. And you know, people are like, oh well, the diapers are the only thing that we all have in common. That's not even true. That's not even true. Some people are little and don't wear diapers. There's such a wide spectrum that there is not one thing that unifies us, except for acceptance and inclusion. And that is one thing that I really want to stress, is that within this community, for the most part, yeah, there's always exceptions, but for the most part, anybody that you come up to in this community and say, hey, hi, I'm a part of this community too, and, you know, these are the details about me, they're going to be like, cool, here's the details about me. And the other person's going to be like, cool, hey, let's break out a coloring book and some crayons and hang out. You know, that's just, you know, from being involved in the community at all, online, in person, going to cons, whatever, you like quickly figure out that like this is such a wide and expansive and huge community that, you know, it's like I don't want anybody else to reject me because of this, and because of my little differences. So I'm not going to reject somebody else for their little thing that doesn't match up with me. Like, there's not one person in the community that can stand up and say, I epitomize what being an ABDL is. It's like, no, you don't. And if anybody does stand up and say that, call bullshit, because they're fucking wrong. Because nobody is the epitome of what ABDL is, because it's so different for each and every one of us. And that's the good thing, is that because of that, I think a lot of us can look at each other and say, you know what? I love your differences. You're awesome for your differences. Live your uniqueness. And know that we all got your back. There's a lot of love in our community, and I really hope to help grow that. And I hope to help grow that by recommending that you all read this book. $25, not a big investment for most people. So jump on Amazon, get it, read it. Even if you feel like you're in a position where you're good on your self-acceptance, one of the things that she talks about many times in the book is that, you know, it's a journey, not a destination. Self-acceptance and self-love and, you know, developing your self-worth is a journey, not a destination. And there's always work to be done. And I felt like I was pretty good on my path, but still, this book helped me to evaluate myself and take things to the next level. So, that all being said, go out, get this book. Dr. Rhoda deserves your money, absolutely, for sure, for all the work that she's done for us. She deserves every single one of us. The whole entire ABDL community should go out. Even if you don't need the book, you should go out and buy it just to support her. You know, she deserves it. For everything that she has done and continues to do for us, she deserves it. And if you need to read this book, you deserve it. You deserve it. If you are struggling with self-acceptance, get this book. And if you're in a bad place emotionally, jump on Twitter, find me, find everybody on there. We're all there. There's huge, like, I'm still meeting new people every single day on Twitter. Jump on here and drop me a comment. Let me know you need somebody to talk to. You know, I'm here for you. The community is here for you. You just need to let us know that you need us, and we will be there. So with that, much love. Stay padded.